The most important fact to remember here is that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees when we're converting to and from radians and degrees. And you can also set that up as a ratio like this. I used to be a much bigger fan of using ratios. However, I'm just as big a fan now as, of doing dimensional analysis. So let's say I want to convert 3.2 radians to degrees. Well, dimensional analysis, multiplied by that conversion factor, I have radians, so I want to multiply by 180 degrees over pi radians. And I can do that with my calculator, and I should get, I will round to the nearest degree here, 183 degrees. I could have also done that. I should put rad there, but we don't always. If you don't see the degree symbol, it's implied to be radians. Anyway, and put 3.2 over the radians, put x there, and you'd wind up with the same result. If we work the other direction, let's say we want to do 42 degrees and convert that to radians, well, again, 180 degrees, pi radians. I'm going to put 180 on the bottom this time to cancel off the degrees, and pi radians on top, and then we're going to get 0.733, and I should put radians, but you don't necessarily have to. Okay, again, if you don't say degrees, it's radians. And we could have done this. We could have done 180 degrees is pi radians. And where does the degrees go? It goes above the degrees. That should make sense. Put that there, and we would get that result if we multiplied both sides by pi. Now, let's say that we're doing what I'm going to call nice angles, like 30 degrees. Well, 30 degrees is 180 divided by 6. Well, 180 degrees is pi radians, so 30 is 1/6 of 180, or 1/6 of pi radians. And then from there, well, 60 degrees, guess what? That's twice 30 degrees, so 2 pi over 6, or pi over 3, or 60 is 1/3 of 180, so 1/3 of pi. Hopefully you recognize that if this is pi over there, that going up to there, 90 degrees is half of 180, or half of pi. How about 45 degrees? Well, that is 1/4 of 180, or 1/4 of pi. $135 would be 3/4 pi, or 3 pi over 4. $225. Well, that is 5 times 45 degrees, and 45 degrees is pi over 4 radians, so we're going to get 5 pi over 4. 210 degrees. Well, that's 7 times 30. That would be over there like that. And 30 degrees, remember, is 1/6 of pi, or pi over 6. So this will become 7 pi over 6. You'll notice I'm not saying radians anymore. You can write it in there. You don't have to. Now, a really slick way of doing this with your calculator. With your calculator, let's say that we are in degree mode. So down at the bottom, above the decimal, you will see DRG. That stands for degrees, radians, gradians. Make sure that at the top it says DEG. And if it's not, then do this until it says DEG. Then enter, or just type 30. And then do this, and it tells me that's equal to pi over 6, or 1/6 pi. You will now notice it says RAD at the top. So if I do second function this again, it'll convert it to gradients, don't worry about that. And again, it takes us back to 30. Let's say that I want to convert pi over 4. We know what this is already. You're going to do second function this until it says rad at the top. Okay, we want to be in radian mode. And then using the pi button, maybe the A over B button as well, pi over 4. So you want to enter this while it says rad at the top. Then press this button, second function that twice, and it will say 45 when it is in degree mode. So our calculator is pretty slick here. The other thing we can do is pi over 4, well, that is pi radians. Pi radians converted to degrees is 180. So we can change that to 180 over 4, which is another way of going to 45 degrees. In the same way, let's go to 5 pi over 6 radians. Let's change just the pi radians, to 180 degrees. And when we multiply this, we will get 150. So it's really easy to change radian measures with pi in it to degrees by simply changing the pi into 180 degrees. Do not assume that every radian measure has a pi in it. For example, 1.2 radians. 1 radian is in here somewhere. So 1.2 will be somewhere in this first quadrant. And just to check this, you can either multiply 1.2 radians by 180 over pi. Again, the radians cancel out. And 1.2 times 180 is 216, then I gotta divide that by pi, sorry about that, and we get 60, basically 69 degrees, rounding it off. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we can use our calculator to convert between degrees and radians. We can use dimensional analysis to convert between degrees and radians. So this is the dimensional analysis. Or we can use ratios to convert between degrees and radians. Bottom line is, there are lots of ways of doing it. Make sure you can do it.